Guys, there she is, 2025 GSXR 1000. You know, one of the tidbits of technology that I have been raving over with this motorcycle is this. It comes from the factory with an up and down quick shifter. Now, what exactly does that do and how does it work? Well, if you've never ridden a motorcycle with a quick shifter, these might be some questions that are going through your mind. Hopefully this will help you out. So, in short, it allows for clutchless upshifting and downshifting. And that's it. I mean, that's what a quick shifter in essence does. Now, how does this thing work? Well, this little device right here is a load sensor. And what it is picking up on is the amount of force that you are putting into your shifter lever up or down. When you are applying that force, this device here will let the ECU know that it needs to cut power to the engine very shortly so that you can complete the shift, whether it's up or down. And in this case, when you are shifting down, it will auto blip the throttles so that you will match RPM as you are downshifting. It's pretty slick stuff. Now, that is how it works basically in a nutshell. You are not actuating the clutch. In fact, here's your clutch linkage right here. There is no actuation mechanically or electronically of any kind of clutch. What it's doing is it's taking advantage of a characteristic of the sequential gearbox. And that is whenever there is slack throttle, meaning no power, torque in essence, going through the gearbox from the engine, it's very easy to just slide and click these things up or down into gear. When that load sensor acts as a power interrupt, in essence, for that brief period of time, it is at slack power, and it just allows you to shift the thing as normal. Speaking of as normal, this system can be turned off. And you might think, well, man, you're talking this up. Why would you want to turn it off? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, if you just would prefer to shift it manually the way that you've been doing your whole life, you can do that. If you have decided that you wanted to run this as a GP shift, which is to say instead of upshifting with your foot clicking up, you actually press down, then the logic behind the quick shifter will no longer be applicable, so you want to turn it off in that respect as well. Now, there are some things to consider when you are riding a bike with a quick shifter, and it's some stuff that can throw some guys off initially. First thing is that, remember, this is a load sensor and it is a signal interrupt for power. If you are slow with your foot movement in upshifting, or if you rest your foot down on the lever while the bike is cruising down the road, or you're slow to downshift, what you will do is you will be telling this load sensor that a shift is coming, and the bike can sometimes bobble. It will go into that torque management mode, and it'll just basically go brrr, like that, like a rev limiter in essence is what it's going to feel like. And that's exactly what it's doing. The bike is doing exactly what you're telling it to do in that situation. So my advice for you, if you've never ridden a bike with a quick shifter, shift it quickly. I know some guys are pretty slow. They'll just kind of click up and click down, and that's fine if you're actuating the gears with a clutch. But again, this quick shifter is a different piece of technology, and it is expecting more rapid, and I'm not saying jump up and down on it or yank your leg up to shift it. Just be very direct with what your intentions are when you are upshifting and downshifting. Don't also, this is a big one a lot of guys will do, they'll go to preload their shift. If you are preloading your upshift or preloading your downshift, sometimes what will happen is, again, you'll trip the load sensor and you will make it do that kind of a weird rev limiting thing. It'll go into torque management thinking that you're trying to shift the bike. So again, it's a quick shifter. Shift it quickly. One of the cool benefits of having a quick shifter is that when you are fanning this thing through the gears, because it is acting as a torque management device, you're not shocking the chassis and the frame when you are at high RPM, high load, and you are commanding a gear shift. With this system, it's super seamless. It's like having a DCT, like an automatic transmission that you're manually shifting as though the lever is a button. in a DCT, that dual clutch automatic trans that you may be used to in some cars. It feels a lot like that. But it is very smooth and it doesn't upset the chassis the way that it may if you're power shifting, fanning that thing through the gears with the clutch. So some cool features, some cool benefits. That's basically how it works. Again, if you've never ridden a bike with a quick shifter, it may take a little bit of getting used to. But once you do, I can tell you that it will spoil you for other motorcycles that don't have that technology. But there she is, guys. Absolutely falling in love even more and more with this bike every time I ride it. Can't wait to bring you guys more content with it. But with that, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys have a great one. I appreciate you hanging out with me.